Sparking Zero, the game we all swore we'd play till the day we died, only to drop it a week later. Well, that might be an over-exaggeration. Well, not for all of you. But I think it's safe to say that a good majority of us dropped the game fairly early. Probably earlier than any of us expected. But why is that? I mean, we've been waiting for this game for, I think, almost a literal decade. So what went wrong? And is there anything we can do to fix it? But before we can arrive at our solution, first, we gotta discuss the problems. So I did my own research on this, and I believe I found some problems that aren't ever really talked about, but a majority of you feel. And honestly, I did too. So without further ado, let's talk about the common problems. One of the more recent critiques as of writing this script were based on the recent releases of DLC for Sparking Zero. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every part of the DLCs were bad. In fact, I think the characters themselves were beautiful. I mean, look at this animation. I'm a Gohan stan all the way. I actually really do love the androids from the superhero movie. I know, hot take. But that wasn't where Sparking Zero was actually getting most of its critique from. The critique came from the fact that there was nothing else to critique. There was no new map. There was one costume, and it was for Piccolo, which, you know, I guess that's something. But bro, like, where's everything else? We got 4 characters. I say 11, but in reality, I count it as 4. Like every other fighting game, when they have a character release or a DLC release, usually comes with like a stage, some cosmetics, you know, maybe some music. But like, there were so many good places they could have used as a map here. I think would have been fun. Like the Red Ribbon Army base itself, the Piccolo crib. Like, there's really so many things they could have done. And sure, you know, okay, it's a little tiny thing to nitpick, but if the DLC isn't bringing people back, then what else is? Because to be honest, a lot of people just came for the characters. They played it maybe for like a day or a week, and then they left again. But of course, this isn't my only point. You know, if we're gonna talk about these little extra things, let's talk about costumes. Let's talk about cosmetics. Now, I don't know about you, but when I first went into my character customization and I saw all these slots they gave me, I was so excited for all the cool, funny things I could do to each character. It was gonna be awesome. So let's go see what they have, yeah? Hey, that doesn't look like a lot. You want to take a guess at how many there are? I'll give you a hint. It's more than 0. Oh, what's that? You think there's enough to fit each accessory slot? Oh, you sweet little innocent child. There's a grand total of 3 whole accessories in this game. Bandai, why did you give us so much space when there's nothing to fill it with? I mean, for all of you saying there's actually 4 cosmetics. Yeah, I mean, if you want to count the different colored scouters, go for it. But even then, this is insane. Like, come on, give me something funny. Some back bling, a gun. Let Vegito have a gun. Now, I know, alone, this seems like a minor issue maybe, but when you really look into it, at the pace they're releasing things and the amount of things they're releasing, people are worried that it's maybe just not sustainable. And, you know, it's silly, but these little things give it charm. It makes people come back. Why? Well, it's like a new coat of paint. There's new things to see, the very tiny things, but they really do make the game feel new and alive. But on top of the lack of DLC content, right, the lack of accessories and costumes and whatnot, there actually lies an even bigger issue, and what I think is the core cause of everything. And honestly, people were worried about this issue from the very start. People were predicting it was gonna happen. People were worried about it, and then it did. And to be honest, this personally for me is what keeps me from playing the game, and what I think is the biggest factor in your enjoyment of the game. Let's talk about the competitive nature of Sparking Zero. So what exactly do I mean by this? Well, simply put, I think the game has been taken way too competitively. Whether you realize it or not, this is just the direction the game ended up going. And honestly, it happened really quickly. I mean, I remember the early days, I was scrolling through Instagram and, you know, you'd see some nice commentary, some cool gameplay, and then I saw it. The thing I feared most, an Excel spreadsheet. No! That's right, they put every single stat of every character and ranked them. And eventually this spreadsheet would later evolve into this website. And no, the tier list alone isn't my argument. Because I know, one rebuttal I'll get is they do this in other fighting games. What's the problem? It's normal. People rank characters all the time. Look at my Smash Bros tier list. First of all, get out of here with that. We all know Smash mains are based on just who you like. But second of all, and this is a hot take, Sparking Zero was not created to be competitive. See, the problem with the tier list isn't the tier list itself. Alone, it's fine. It's not doing any real damage. No. The problem is that this doesn't work in this game. Why? Because this game was designed very differently from a competitive fighting game. Oh yeah, let's get into the meat of things. So what exactly do I mean by this? Well, I'm glad you asked. The best way I can explain this is by pointing to another game that shares the same IP, and that game is none other than Dragon Ball FighterZ. In case you haven't heard of it, Dragon Ball FighterZ is a 2D fighting game. It's a team fighter like Sparking Zero where you pick your own team for the Dragon Ball franchise. There's no DP, so you can pick basically whoever. And why there's no DP, we'll get into that right now. But it plays like a classic 2D fighter. You have your combos, your grabs, your combo breaks, etc. with its own unique mechanics from the Dragon Ball franchise. But overall, it's very different from Sparking Zero. I know it's a different fighting style, but it'll make sense why I'm using it. See, it's because it's not about the style of the game, it's about how the team goes about handling it. FighterZ is a competitive game, and Bandai handles it as such. How do we know this? Well, let's look how Bandai balances these characters out. In Fighters, Bandai's goal is to make sure that no one character is much stronger than the other. And yes, before you tell me about UI Goku and Android 21, that's just Bandai struggling to balance their characters. It's normal. But the point is, they don't try to make UI Goku intentionally stronger than the rest of the crew. At least not by a significant amount like Sparking Zero does. Again, due to the competitive nature of the game, their goal is not to be as accurate to the power scaling of the franchise as a whole, but to simply balance characters in a way where everyone feels kind of fair. And that's why there's no DP in this game, because everyone's supposed to be fairly equal in power. I mean, if you pair up UI Goku against Yamcha, it's actually a pretty good match because Yamcha was really good for a while. And I know this to be an absolute fact because I went to my most reliable source on this topic, my cousin. He's got over 550 hours on the game, so I'm pretty sure he's right. And if he's not, I guess we can burn him at the stake or something. But getting back on track, FighterZ is trying to keep things balanced, because that's what a competitive style game needs. If it doesn't have that, it will fall apart. This means that no matter who I pick, every single character should have about an equal chance to win a fight. And all this to say, Sparking Zero is not this. It is not built as a competitive game, but a fun one, more like a party game. The strong characters are purposely, stupidly strong. Even the gag characters like Yajirobe are broken. And that's the point. It's for fun. The formula has always been for fun. They're supposed to feel unbalanced. There isn't supposed to be a meta. UI Goku needed to feel like UI Goku. Broly needed to feel like 1,000,000% muscle mass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the Budokai Tenkaichi games have always been. If I'm fighting Broly as Hercule, I want to feel like I'm Hercule fighting Broly. I want that challenge. I want that enjoyment of playing someone way weaker and beating them. You know what I mean? It's a story, like almost a narrative that I'm creating. And we'll dive a bit deeper into that section in a bit. But all I'm saying for now is that characters should have different stats and attributes and abilities. Sticking to how characters are supposed to be in the show, in the manga, without really caring for balance too much, you get some really cool things. Such as the androids not being able to charge energy because technically they have infinite energy, so it regenerates. Or like Android 19 and Dr. Gero not using any ki when they ascend or quick descend, because canonically they don't use ki when they fly. Which is such a niche little detail that I was able to find on the official Dragon Ball website where they talk about Android 19. Look, it's right there. And it's this amazing attention to detail that just really transports you into the world of Dragon Ball. And I'm all for it. However, this was unfortunately removed right after an official tournament. Why do you ask? Well, one of the finals ended up looking like this. Also, thanks to this Reddit user for saving me hours of research. Seriously, you're the best. And it was just like minutes of this. And look, I like watching people struggle to commentate as much as the next guy. But these poor guys had it so rough. Honestly, shout out to being able to keep your composure and finding something to talk about. You guys are awesome. And look, it's easy to point fingers and just blame people or things for how badly this tournament went. But I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. It was not a matter of balancing issues. The Budokai games have been known for these kind of mechanics. Why? Because it's not meant to be a competitive game. It doesn't work here. It just doesn't work in this kind of setting. And if you won't take my word for it, look at these comments under every single tournament video. So, I was gonna read you some funny comments, but I swear, these were all not that long ago. So let's go to the Reddit that led me here instead. It was not developed to be an esports game. It was not balanced for tournament play. The devs explicitly said as much. Didn't the devs specifically say it's not a competitive game and they were making a lore accurate fighting game? It was never supposed to be a competitive game. It really is as simple as I stated. this game was not meant for the competitive scene. And frankly, that's just what happens when the game strays from what it was meant to be. People get frustrated. Everyone loses in this scenario. Both the competitive player who thinks the game is too unbalanced and the casual player who thinks people are playing the game too sweaty. And this isn't to say that there aren't people who enjoy playing the game competitively. There are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if we're solely talking about what's causing a major frustration in the group as a whole, I believe it is this. Sparking Zero forgot what makes the Budokai game so fun. And honestly, I think some of us did too. I think we really got wrapped up with all the negativity, all the issues, and honestly, biggest of all, our perspectives. And that right there is going to be the key to once again enjoying Sparking Zero. How? Well, let's go back and look at what exactly made the Budokai game so special to us growing up, and why they're so beloved now. If I could summarize everything I've heard from all the Budokai games, especially 3, is the fact that people enjoyed it not because it was particularly a good and balanced fighter, but because it was the best Dragon Ball simulator at the time. Each character and each battle felt like you were living in that moment. This is what people really loved, and that's the hype the game was getting when it was showing its trailers. People were excited about just these little details, like how the sky changed when you transformed. And that's one thing I can say I was too. I mean, it made it seem like I was gonna be able to play a game where it really felt like a true Dragon Ball fight was in my hands. And you know what? As I was studying this portion, I began to wonder, what happened to this? Did Sparking Zero take into account all these things that people loved about the Budokai games? And to my surprise, they did. They really did. Yes, they started losing their identity a bit, but the heart of it is still in there. And if we just peel back some of the bad layers, we can see some of the gold hidden in there. Now, I don't know how many of you played the story mode in Sparking Zero, but I think it's peak. I think it's so good. Like, if you ask me where half of my hours were spent in that game, it was right there. It was in that mode. I mean, the battles are just so cinematic. They really suck you in. Like, man, I really do feel like I'm the character that I'm playing as. Like, this run I had with Goku on Planet Namek, oh my gosh, it had to be my favorite feeling I think I've ever felt in this game. Like, it's almost like I could feel the anger in that fight. Like when he's yelling at Frieza about Krillin. Oh my goodness. And the hits just land. Or when the dialogue lines up and the music does too. Like, just, I'll let you just listen to this part.
I'll never forgive you. Alright, fine. You win. But you really better beat me. Don't make me regret this. All power.
The music was just so perfect in that section. It's moments like that that are just so perfectly timed, and it goes along with the music and the dialogue. It just makes it feel so dang good. I mean, during that internally, I was like, yeah! I mean, I was covered in goosebumps. It was so good. I felt like a kid again. But you want to know what elevated that feeling even more? Those crazy guys at Bandai were not afraid to give us some of the best what-if scenarios I have ever seen. So those what-if scenarios, you'd come up as a kid, you got to see them play out, fleshed out, and just be so beautiful. And they were voice acted! My what-if scenarios were voice acted. That's just so good! And because of everything we talked about, I feel these really went under the radar. Seriously, it was not lazy work whatsoever. Every time I saw a branching path, I was so excited to see what crazy what-if scenario they were about to give me. Because, man, they were not afraid to experiment. And I'm gonna cover one right now that I really like. So fair warning, here comes some major spoilers for some of them. And if you have not done this yourself, please, I beg you, go do them yourself before you see any of this. Skip this portion of the video, but do yourself a favor and do these blind, because man, it's like no other Dragon Ball game has. Final warning to everyone, but for those of you that got to stay, oh my goodness, how did you guys feel about Gohan Black? Look at him, he's so cool! Like when I first saw him, I didn't know it was a spoiler. I thought it was just a mod. He kept showing up on Instagram. I'm like, dang, that's a cool mod. But when he showed up in my game, I was so shocked. Like, dude, I cannot shake that feeling that I had that day. Or there was the one where Goku unlocked Super Saiyan early. You know, every childhood dream that you had. What if he did this? Bandai was like, what if he did do that? And let's voice it. And it was, oh my gosh, it was so awesome. This branches out so far. You go through like 2 or 3 sagas. It's so cool. You should go do it if you haven't. Because man, it is not afraid to change some pretty big things that happen. But you know, all this to say, I can't help but feel that this This right here is what you were supposed to feel every time you played a match online. And frankly, I don't think a lot of us do. Now, before you say anything, I'm not saying that this game would be better as a single player game, or that the multiplayer is no fun. In fact, the multiplayer is the next best thing about these games. But how, you may be asking? I thought you just argued that the multiplayer is the worst part. No, you silly monkey. I said the competitive aspect of it sucks. In case you forgot, you can play these games without being competitive. I mean, isn't that what we used to do as kids? That's what made it fun. Unless you were that guy that only cared about winning and tried to cheese everything. You probably don't know what fun is. Nor what a friend is. But for those of you that were able to have fun, and friends, or siblings growing up, you know what it's like to let your imagination run wild. As you played growing up, what would you do to make the game more fun? Maybe you're the person that liked to challenge yourself. You'd have someone pick a strong character and you were limited to weaker ones. Or maybe someone had a whole party and someone else had one character. Or maybe you were the kids that made up your own what-if scenarios. You know, when you really take a step back and look, there's so much more to these games than what's offered at face value. It just takes a little creativity, a little wonder. Seriously, try it out. Me and my friend Brian did this recently, and I gotta say, it's some of the most fun I've had in the game in a long time. And all we did was pretty simple. We limited our characters based on the stage that we select. If the character had ever canonically been on that stage, or in any form of media that's official, we were allowed to select them, given they could fit under the standard DP limit. Not only was it really fun to test each other's knowledge on the series with the little time they give you, but also to see how creative we could get by not picking the obvious. Like, he caught me off guard with his Oob pick. I totally forgot this dude has been here. And honestly, some of these characters I forgot were even in the game. But it's cool because it lets you play a character you probably wouldn't touch otherwise. And that really makes the game feel refreshing, not seeing the same characters over and over and over. I guess what I'm trying to say with all this is that the multiplayer aspect doesn't have to be competitive. It can be goofy fun with your friends or even randos. Because I bet you there are randos out there who just want to have fun. They want to have some goofy moments and they want to have some cinematic moments. Whether they're letting themselves get beat up a little for a closer match or trying to clash a super or attack, you typically know who these people are. And you know what? I believe that in those moments, that's where the core essence of the Budokai games really lies, and where I believe Sparking Zero is hiding its true potential as a part of that series. And this is where we finally get to our answer. How can you enjoy the game again? Now, some of you may not like this, but I truly, wholeheartedly believe the key to enjoying Sparking Zero is to see it and experience it as the game that it was always supposed to be, not as the game that it currently is. Behind everything, Sparking Zero is a love letter to the Dragon Ball franchise and community as a whole. And I believe that's what it was always supposed to be. And I am so confident in saying this. Why? Just look at how much the team working on this game put in. For now, forget Bandai, forget the patches, forget all the negative things you've heard, and instead simply examine this game through the eye of the kid that you once were. A kid who was so in love with the Dragon Ball franchise. One who would have never worried about these things. And once you do that, you'll see it. You'll see the beauty that was always there. The animations, they're beautiful. The sound design, phenomenal. The feeling of the characters and how you can feel every punch, every adrenaline rush. It's amazing. It's mind-blowing. It's everything little you wanted. And at the end of it all, Sparking Zero is still Budokai Tenkaichi 4, the game you always dreamed of. And now, you can finally go back and enjoy the game that you always wanted to enjoy. When you get the chance, go have some fun. Go play the game casually. Get immersed. Get into that atmosphere. Challenge yourself. Grab some friends and go make your own rules. Seriously, if you still don't believe me, go try it out yourself. Go experiment. Go be creative. And come back and tell me whether it worked for you or not. I want to know. I want to know the many different ways you had fun and try them out. And if I like them enough, maybe even make a video about it on the second channel. And if you didn't enjoy it, despite trying all this and you just don't like the game anymore, tell me why. I really am curious as to what's causing this. And in the end, no matter what side of the coin you're on, the point of this is to have a discussion, not to argue. So, if you see someone you disagree with, don't yell at them, talk it out, see why they think that. Overall, it's just fun to learn different points of views and you don't have to switch yours, it's okay. So finally, in the end, out of all this, all I really wanted was for us to come together, have a discussion, and figure out how we can come back to the game we were so excited for. And I hope I was able to rekindle that fire in your heart once again for this wonderful franchise. Thank you so much for watching and sticking all the way through. I really appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Hey there, one last thing. If you enjoyed that, I plan on making more commentary videos in the future on other topics. So if you'd like to see that or just support the channel, feel free to subscribe. It would really help me out. Oh, and also, if you want to see that challenge where we limit our characters to stage, it'll be on the left. And if you just want to see some casual gameplay, some funny moments, that'll be on the right. Other than that, thank you so much for watching.